Cash Money, what's up with it, fam? First in the room. What's good? Calvin Brinson, what's up, family? When you guys come in, like, please. Yeah, that's right. Love you back, baby. Love you back. K-Lab Davis, man, I'm all right. Here for you. King She, what's up, family? The Third Eye, what's up? Tony, what's happening? The third one, that's right. The third one, that's right. How you guys feeling today? When you guys come in, make sure you like right away so we can help some of these people around the country with some of this information. Appreciate. When you come in, like it right away. If you're not subscribed, push that bell button. Put subscribe and that bell button, and that'll inform you anytime I release something new. It'll come right on up. Brooklyn in the house. What's up with it? Andres Ruiz, what's up? Peace Nat Turner. Knowledge Shirt, Blessing, the B Code, a regular. What's up with it, fam? Paris, I see you, boy. Principles, character, and honor. That's that road to paradise. Principles, character, and honor. My father told me a man should always be caught wearing, and no great man has ever died without him. Tony Davis coming in hard with that 10 to start us off. Bless you. Nat Turner, Dominion, baby. Yes, sir. I'm all right. Kev Fulton, what's up, baby? Thank you, Jerry. You too, family. Somebody asked me when the next book was coming out. When I get some time, it's been busy. Helena, what's up, baby? Ready for the knowledge, Andres? Okay. Bless you, baby. Boss Royalty, what's up with it, family? I love you guys, man. You know I do for real. Yeah. Is that Goldie? Yeah. J Gold. Yeah, it's a good topic tonight. I have some things that's going to be on TV tonight. Some TV things that I filmed a couple of days ago. One like last week, but I'm gonna show one of them so we could talk about. One of them is a debate with the president of police and sheriffs, who was against changing anything. And so we have a debate, and I want to go through that debate with you guys so we can break down certain things and why I said certain things the way that I said it, and where he was coming from, where the systems idea come from, and how to overcome that, and the importance of getting this information. What's up, family? Mr. Povo, what's up? Yeah, hit that like button when you come in, everybody. Make sure we got 63 people in here. There should be at least 63 likes thus far. Yeah, so make sure you guys hit that like button so that other people can be blessed and the video could be suggested to other folks. We're going to wait till we get a couple of more. Yeah, we the people for sure. Joe Frank. Jonathan, bless you for that $15, loved one. That's love. I don't know why YouTube ain't alerting you, Ken. Maybe you should. Did you make sure did you push that bell? They hating on you, man. Extended Clips, love you for that 20, family. It's a blessing. Thank you. So I'm going to let a couple more people get in. Sylvester, what's up with it, fam? Yeah, Sylvester, that's right. KCMO, that's right. What is that? Was that? Let me see, baby. That was KCMO, that's right. Couple of more people because I don't want people to miss the beginning of what I'm going to do. Because I need to show you guys this thing, and then we need to go through it and decipher, strategic ways of being able to conquer this system. You know, ways that even when you're on the street, you utilize a lot of this information to make sure that if you have a confrontation with law enforcement, that give you some of this information to know how to navigate, that you can make sure that you can live another day, because times are hard out there and I feel responsible. Jonathan Lewis, I love you back. I love you back. You know I do. I love all you with everything in my heart. That's why I'm fighting. I'm fighting and trying to give as much information as I can. Yeah. So let me try to pull it up real quick. We got 78 people. I'm trying to wait till 100 get in the room at least, so I won't have to go back, and when they come in, they won't be mixed up about what they missed. Is YouTube tripping on you guys? Can you guys you can hear me clear and everything? Make sure y'all can hear me clear. K-Lab, I used to get these things made, man. I had a online business. I called I forgot the name of the business, but I had to shut it down because I just got too busy with this social justice stuff, fighting for us and stuff. I got, you know, I'm just sick and tired of seeing our people getting killed right on the street for nothing. I got to bring this game and give you guys some information just in case you want to start a grassroots movement where you are. And I'm gonna be opening a lot of other not this times in other cities, and so I need to give you guys the information in the format. I don't really care whether the enemy or whatever is on here today. It doesn't matter, you know, because this thing ain't done in the corner. I'm not trying to hide nothing from nobody. They can't even stop this information. Oh, you did receive a notification. Okay. Let me get this thing up though. Make sure I got it ready. Second decisions. So listen, so what it is, you guys gonna have to bear with me because I need to show you guys, and we can stop certain places. This is gonna air tonight, but I went ahead and went online and was able to, so I can show it to you guys online. I got two things that are gonna air on TV tonight. One is this debate with this police, the president of a police union or organization, and that's going to be on the Seattle channel, Inside and Out. And then I have another thing that I'm doing with an affiliate of PBS that's going to be on at 7 o'clock at the same time. So I'm going to try to go through this one first, so that it's about 30 minutes. So, you know, it's not a lot of time, but there's enough in there so that we could talk about, and I could tell you why I did the things that I did. I think I'm gonna get started because, you know, if I was talking about the game, we'll have 400-500 people up in here. This is why I tell you guys from the beginning, this is only for a remnant. This is exactly why I tell you guys, because they think that this information right now is not relative to their everyday life, and you know, it makes you only become a one-trick pony because you want to have as much information, a circular amount of information, man. You know, a circular amount, not just a straight way, a circular amount of information so that you're full. You know, so this information is just as important as the information that I've talked about with the other daily fires. Tony David, thank you for that $4, fam. And I need to this, at least there could be 5-10 people out there that could take this information that I'm giving them and start operating out of a grassroots movement and help change some things where you're at. You know what I'm saying? Until we can get there. So this is what this is for. So I'm gonna play some of this debate with this president of this police organization, police and sheriffs, and you could see kind of what I'm saying and what he's saying, and I will periodically stop it and then come back and we can discuss it and talk about why I did things the way that I did. Okay, hold on.
Should it be easy to prosecute police who are involved in fatal shootings? Cause officers to hesitate in
Let me get this turned up so you can hear it. Make sure you guys can hear it.
As a law enforcement officer, we're making split-second decisions.
Hold on.
Supporters of I-940 want more police accountability when deadly force is used. The initiative
require officers.
Okay, so listen. So I told you that we were successful at our initiative to change the law. We are the first state. It's a historic thing that we were able to achieve out here. The first state in the nation to first of all, defeat law enforcement and to bring police accountability, into the nation, because no other state has any police accountability measure, which is why officers are just killing people without any accountability. So I had my attorneys put this initiative together and then brought together other people like the Latino community, the Native the Native American community, Asian Pacific Islanders. We brought together other police organizations that did believe in Initiative 940. We brought together politicians, and we built the largest people of color movement coalition in the history of this state. So now it's on the ballot. Now we have to vote for it. Initiative 940. The reason why it's so important for you to understand this where you are is because once that precedent is set in Washington state, what happens around the country is that things begin to fall in order around the country. But you need to pay attention because you can't expect for the system to help you with that, because they were against what we were trying to do every step of the way until we won the initiative process, and that brought them to the table. So what I'm going to do is show you how to appeal to a massive amount of people, because a lot of times in our communities, we are only concerned about us, but we don't have the numbers just by us alone to bring the changes that we need. Understand that. So you need to be able to know how to operate to bring more people into the equation so that we can start getting things changed, in this country. But there's ways that you do it. Now, there are other people out there that feel that nothing's ever going to change. Well, that gives them an excuse not to do anything. There's a lot of people out there that just feel nothing is going to change. And so they say, well, why do anything? That's bull. It is a season for change for our people. It is timing. It is time for us to begin to take back our rightful place in the world, not just this country, in the world. And it is our time. And for you, that remnant out there that could hear me good, because you need to position yourself for the openings that are coming up for us to fill those places of change that is necessary, and that's for us in this time, because everything is timing. Now listen, yes, and it's true indeed that white folks for 400 years have controlled this system here. They had their time. But do you know us? It is reported that Africans have been here over 20,000 years, and at least over there in what they call Egypt, which is Kemet, was in power for 8,000 years. So true enough, America became a great superpower after the Second World War. Right? So they became a country 240 years ago. That's it. 240 years ago, America became a country. You understand that? So listen, we were in power at least for 8,000 years. Nobody held power more than us. The second people that were in power that had a long run was the Roman Empire, existed for 2,000 years. America has only been a superpower after the Second World War. And they've only been a country for 240 years. So I don't want you to get consumed in the idea that the American empire is the greatest empire that has existed, because it is far from the greatest empire that has existed, right? It is an empire. And let me explain why that's important for you to understand that. Because as far as empires are concerned, what is an empire? An empire conquer land and people. lands and people. And as far as an empire is concerned, America and Europeans have done a great job in their time of conquering lands and people. But it doesn't last forever. They've had their season. It is shifting, and I need you to be aware so that you can facilitate those positions of change like I am. I'm not talking about what I don't do or what I don't live. I'm talking about what I know, and because I know it, facilitating those places of conquering and rule and leadership. Another thing, I hear a lot of us saying, why should we bring other cultures or races into this fight? Because whenever we was in trouble, Mexicans didn't help us, the Asians didn't help us, the natives didn't help us. That might be true, but we are not here to follow. We are here to lead, to show what it looks like to be a leader, to what it looks like to lead, right? So whether that's true or not, that's not my interest. My interest is to make sure I can lead all people into letting them know what it is to be the first man. Why the first man is fair and the first man is loving, but the first man also has judgment for behavior as well. But we have to lead in that position. I'm not in a space to be talking about, oh, because somebody did something to me, I'm going to do that to them. Because I'm looking at whoever done that to me, and their capacity might not never be to be like I am. They might not have the genius, right, to be what I am. You understand that? So I'm expecting to lead regardless of all that mess, because I can't do nothing about that right now. I can do something about where we're going tomorrow, but I can't do nothing about what we done gone through. The only thing I can do is pay homage to my ancestors and make sure when it's our time to get in position again, that I'm listening, that I'm watchful, and I'm ready to take up the position to be in control on the global market in this world. That's what I'm talking about. I don't care whether anybody believes me. Whoever don't believe me, where are you at? What are you doing? Nothing. Because you can't see it. You're blinded. Because you've allowed the systems to trick you and to control your mind where you can't see nothing spiritual. This is not a natural move. This thing happens in the spirit before it manifests in the flesh. But you can't see it because you dead. You can't see it because you dead. You live a dead life. You speak dead words. You dead. You can't see it. So what I'm trying to do is plant seeds of life into you. Seeds of life so that they can develop, like I always say, a tree of life in you because you dead. So the moment you hear somebody speaking life because you dead, you like the people in the end that the Bible says that the end times people will be calling good evil and evil good. Them is dead people that's doing that because they can't see. You dead. I'm trying to give you life. Not just with my words, but through my actions of power and authority and dominion. I live it. Okay, so let's go into this debate I'm having with this officer. And you guys tell me what you got out of it, and we're going to talk about why I said some of the things that I said. I'm not going to start it from the beginning. Maybe I should. Let me see if you guys can see this thus far. Hold on.
To provide first aid and receive de-escalation and mental health training.
The bottom line is we already get this training.
God dang it. Hold on, Jones. Damn, that damn circle's right there. I don't know if I can let you guys see this thing because I got that circle there. Damn. Well, you guys is going to have to be able to see some of it. Hold on. You're going to have to look through that circle, okay? Because I don't know how to fix that. Hold on. Let me get it to a spot.
training.
Both sides weigh in.
Whatever training that's going on has not been effective.
But the tragic events that ended his life in deadly force cases.
I want to the bill.
Hold on.
We didn't have any say into.
Plus, if the back for our entire and executive director of measure is the most effective, be a step back for
Can you hear?
Be a step back for our entire state.
Because it would send a message that status quo is
There you
okay.
go.
Yet officers say rejecting the measure is the most effective way to bring two divided sides back to the table.
Here we go.
We'd love to be
Hold
in
on.
collaboration with everyone and come to a solution together.
Old man Dre with the technology. The only
Joining
way
us
I
to
could do
discuss
it.
this very important matter further, we have with us Andre Taylor. He is the founder and executive director of Not This Time, also co-chair of De-Escalate Washington, and brother of Sheikh Taylor, who was killed by Seattle police in 2016. He's on the yes side of 940. Andre, good to have you.
Thanks for having me.
We also have with us Mike Solon. He is president of Compass, the Council of Metropolitan Police and Sheriffs, speaking against I-940. Mike, good to have you too.
Happy to be here.
We had a coin flip before the show, and Mike, you're speaking first. Why do you oppose this measure?
Well, first I want to thank you, Brian, and thank the Seattle Channel for allowing me to express our concern regarding the issues on 940. Andre, I want to thank you for being here and engaging in this debate. I think this is a dynamic debate. It's controversial. It cuts deep into emotional human concerns regarding law enforcement and interactions with the public. We feel as if I-940 is detrimental to community safety, let alone public safety officers that serve this great state. Law enforcement in general is a very difficult employment. We differ greatly from other professions across the United States and in the world. We feel as if I-940 will affect errors where officers accidentally shoot an innocent person due to a confluence of dynamic circumstances. And what I mean by that is you have to take in the totality of circumstances with every incident that you see with police shootings. It's dynamic, it is quick, it is split second. The problem is 940 would put the safety and the safety of law enforcement officers in the state at grave risk. It would cause law enforcement to hesitate in the examples I just provided as far as making split-second decisions. And I want to portray the human side of me as far as I know how difficult it is for Andre in this process and the loss of his brother. I cannot sit here and walk in his shoes with that experience. I've never lost a loved one to violence. And I want to portray to Andre that I'm here to try to find solutions, but explain in context how detrimental 940 is to the public and how it was based on false pretenses under the guise that this involves training, which is not. It is clearly there to make it easier to politically prosecute police officers with these emotional examples that you showed earlier.
Okay, and we'll break down some of those issues. Thanks for bringing that up, Mike. Andre, your thoughts here. Why do you support 940?
940 did something extraordinarily beautiful. Is it brought white, black, brown people together. Natives, black, Latinos. It brought people together. 940 is a grassroots movement. It didn't come from the top down. It came from the bottom up, where people saw what was going on and have seen some tragic incidences that have been going on in the country. And the beautiful thing about Washington State is that we have led on a lot of things before. A lot of things happen here before they go around the country. And we have the fortitude in this state, the people, the genius in this state to bring forth change and to lead in this country. 940 galvanized the largest people of color movement in the history of this state. We had 700 volunteers. We raised $1.8 million. We went to the people, and the people decided, along with 940, that it was time to shift things and change things. There's been a lot of discussions in our country about these issues. Nothing has happened anywhere. 940 is the foundation of that change, right? There's a lot of laws in the book right now that could be better. 940 is the foundation of change. After change happens, iterations could happen after that.
Okay, okay.
But without 940, there is no iteration.
And I want to break that down, just some of the context and history we're talking about here, because your entire state.
Because it
So, I'm going to see if anybody's seen any key things there. We get back to it in a minute. See if anybody's seen some key things there. Did you see what the officer was saying? And do you understand why he was saying what he was saying? And then my rebuttal. Do you understand why I rebutted the way that I did? I'm going to see if you understand that. What did you see in that back and forth with just that first clip? Come on now, we got to go to work here. This is great training for, you know, what we got to do out there and some fighting. So this is some real game. Did you see the narrative of the officer and using, unpack it? Okay. I'll unpack that, Robin. Did you see the narrative of the police officer when he said that we are out there? He talked about his background, yeah. We are out there. I didn't see. Would love to know. The officer interjected something that you hear all over the country when we hear about a police-involved shooting, unjustified use of force. That we must make a split-second decision. Now remember that. This is a narrative that is put all throughout this country. He said, we must make a second decision. What that means, what my response to him, and he said that, well, let me get to the split second decision first and why that's so important. There is an idea of American exceptionalism. But we want our doctors to be the best, exceptional. Our scientists to be exceptional. We want every part of American culture to be exceptional. They call it American exceptionalism. Well, I want to see American exceptionalism as well, but we are not experiencing the best. The best. American exceptionalism means we want to be the best. We are not experiencing American exceptionalism in policing. We are not experiencing American exceptionalism in policing because of that excuse right there. That excuse right there, that we must go in and make a split-second decision. So, when a doctor, he goes to school, sometimes for 8 years or more. Lawyers go to school for a very long time. Professionals go to school for a very long time so that they won't have to make a split-second decision, so they can make an informed decision, an educated decision. Do you understand what I'm saying? This excuse of a split-second decision shows me you don't have enough educated law enforcement officers to do the damn job exceptionally. You don't have it. But you make a split-second decision because you have ignorance. Because you have not done enough study. Because you are not educated enough. And the only thing that you can do well is to react. But is that American exceptionalism? Absolutely not. If somebody was working on you and that doctor was about to open you up to do some surgery, would you let them do you some surgery if they only been trained for 6 months? For 6 months? If you had a serious case that you was fighting, you gonna let a novice attorney come and represent you and he only had a 6-month education? Well, that's what we're doing. That's what we're dealing with out here in this country. a bunch of 6-month training officers that only know how to react before they think. And that's their excuse, a split-second decision. Understand that. That's how we combat that narrative. That's how we combat it. And we can change law enforcement forever if we inform enough people of why this behavior continues to go on from slave catchers. All right. We know the problems, but we need to bring the solutions. We know the problems, but we need to bring the solutions. And we need to have the information how to engage the opposition. And this just is a part of that. So let me go on a little more into the debate. Hold on. I got to turn that light down.
Together over House Bill 3003. That was that.
Hold on.
The foundation of that change. Right?
40. Mike, good to have you too.
Didn't come from the top. We had, it's time to shift
Hold
things
on.
and change.
Trying to get it right.
After change happens, iterations could happen after that.
Okay.
But without 940,
Was that compromise measure?
but without 940, there is no iteration.
And I want to break that down, just some of the context and history we're talking about here, because you were on the set with me just a few months ago. We were talking about how several law enforcement groups and victims advocates had come together over House Bill 3003. That was that compromise measure the legislature worked on with police and writers of 940. The state Supreme Court said no to that, so 940 has to go to the voters, and here we are. You're in a position right now of supporting a bill that De-Escalate Washington was arguing just a few months ago. We don't want this on the November ballot. Help me out with that. How does that context affect your message?
I think that's inaccurate.
Okay.
From the beginning, when 940 was instituted and created, we were always prepared for the ballot.
Yeah.
We always felt like the legislators would not get involved.
Yeah.
It was smart for them to see the support of the community, the support of voters around the country, and that probably gave them the fortitude or the wherewithal to want to get involved after the support, right? So they tried to do what they can do. It did not happen. But from day one, we have not been distracted from going to the ballot. Yes.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. And Mike, I'll bring you in here too, because I think police, there's an interesting dynamic here too.
Listen.
Because I know in House Bill
Listen to this
3003
officer
was
when he
happening,
comes on.
The Fraternal Order of Police, Washington Association of Sheriffs and Police Chiefs were on board with that. They said, let's figure out some sort of compromise here. That deal fell through, and we're in this initiative fight. I know that your group, Compass, was not involved with that. Seattle Police Officers Guild, State Patrol didn't support that deal, but do you think voters might be confused as to where law enforcement stands on this issue?
Well, to correct the record, Compass and the Troopers organization were indeed engaged in those talks at the table in Olympia.
Okay.
What we ultimately realized is that 3003 was a compromise that made it just as easy to politically prosecute police officers and didn't give us the adequate protections.
He says politically prosecute police officers. Look at the language.
People in this great state. So what we can support, if we want to talk about compromise language, is sensible reform.
Okay.
Not reform that calls for the immediate prosecution of a police officer based upon a public opinion that is not informed on the matters that are quickly changing and rapidly developing and making human decisions in blink of an eye.
I'm going to hold on that piece for just a second, and Andre, go down this legislative path a little bit further, because I've heard this concern from other law enforcement officers too. I-940 would be forcing officers into a new way to do their job. They'd be stuck with that basically for 2 years, unless the legislature had that 2/3 supermajority. I guess if 940 passes, are you going to be there to push the legislature to make some of these changes, or what happens next?
Yes, we have already sat down with law enforcement, and we have agreed to continue the process of making things better. But let me push back on something.
Okay, please.
There is this idea that somehow that officers in Washington State are superior to officers anywhere else, as if they're so superior that they need this de facto immunity in the law, which is malice.
Yes.
That no other state in the country has.
Yeah.
So from the perspective of Officer Sloan is that this will make officers unsafe. Well, I'm not sure how that is so, because is he then saying that officers in every other state around this country are not safe?
Okay.
Because there's no one. We are an outlier. There is no police department, no state that has that language.
Okay.
So for us to be like every other state, so is he saying that law enforcement officers are in danger in other states?
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense to me, right?
Okay.
This is going on everywhere in the country, and it's practically impossible to hold a police officer accountable what the law is in every other state.
Okay, okay. Mike, let's break down this beat, the good faith standard that 940 is talking about here with this current malice standard.
So, let me get back. Put my light on. So, let me give you a little backstory so you won't be too mixed up. Give you a little backstory. First of all, I want you to see something. They expect, when we get on and start talking about justice, they expect us to be angry. Do you understand what I'm saying? And when we are angry, you can be angry inside, but when we are angry, they're able to take the narrative away from us. If you just go in there and say, you know, that's bullshit or whatever, woo, 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 you're not going to get nowhere. Remember, you're trying to appeal to a mass amount of people, right? And you have to come in there with, somebody said earlier, dominion. Like one of those daily fires that I talked about, dominion. You have to know who you are, know what you're doing. You're not in there guessing about anything. You got to know what you are doing and be strategic. Understand your power. Understand when you go in and start talking about these issues that you are not speaking from a victim's perspective, but from a conqueror. And you could be poised, yes. You could be extremely poised, authoritative, with not just because you're yelling, because that doesn't make you authoritative, right? But you could be poised, comfortable, convincing, and all that could be real. Well, what happens when you do that is you make the other people trying to attack you look extremely small. Extremely small. So, in this conversation, it gets a little bit more, heated up later on. But in this and then I go in on them and cut real good. But I just wanted to show you the temperament and the tone. The temperament and the tone, what power looks like, what dominion, authority looks like, and how all people respond to it. All people respond to it because it makes people feel comfort, it makes them feel safe, and it makes them feel that they can rely on what you're saying. I don't know if you guys seen Judge, I forget his name, Kavar, whatever his name is, the one that they're trying to choose for the Supreme Court. All this time, he tried to keep his poise, his disposition in check. What happened yesterday, damn near, to me, disqualified him. I believe the woman that he did what he sexually assaulted that woman back when they were younger. I believe. Because the way he acted, he was unhinged. He was disrespectful. He looked small. He looked small and petty when he was going back and forth with even the woman senator. He looked small and petty. He didn't look like he was supposed to be in Supreme Court. When you're thinking about the highest office as far as judicial office in the nation, you're not thinking about nobody that's unhinged regardless of what happens. But that's how they want us to act. And because we've given them that. Now remember, I don't care how you think things should be. We need to operate in the reality of how things are. Yes, you would hope that you would hope that they wouldn't be the way that they are. But the reality is that white folks control 85% of this world. That's the reality. So ain't no sense of you coming to the table with an attitude wishing that things was different. Things ain't gonna be different just by you asking for things to be different. You gotta bring your genius to the table. You got to bring your genius to the table. You think somebody that got everything and all the control gonna hand it back over to us? No, no. I wouldn't even want it that way. I wouldn't want it that way because that's dependent. Let us go in there with our genius, our power, our dominion, and get everything that belongs to us. Nothing. I wouldn't want it with somebody, let us give you, you can't give me nothing. Like you doing me a favor. I had a meeting the other day with the mayor's office, and a lot of us social justice activists were there. But, and you know, every year, every mayor in a city makes a budget for a city. And people were there feeling, and rightfully so, that all these millions of dollars, let me tell you this, you know how much of the city's budget that law enforcement gets in Seattle? Now hold on to your hats. Seattle police get every year $350 million. $350 million. That's their operating budget. So I'm offended if I got to go struggle for $100,000 from the city to help do the work for the community that needs to be done. I'm not about to beg up on nothing. If you don't recognize the work that we put in, we'll keep doing it by ourselves. Us and the people. And I'll let the citizens give into the valuable work that Not This Time is doing in this city and country. But I damn near not be at the table begging for no crumbs when you give law enforcement $350 million to operate. That's what we up against. But I'm trying to give you something. Let me tell you, when I first came to Seattle, we're going to get back to this debate with this officer, with this president over the sheriffs and police. Nobody was helping me, and I've talked to you guys about this before. The black community was trying to shoot me because they were saying, oh, that guy used to be a pimp and all this kind of stuff. They didn't support me. I didn't get no support from the black community. So I decided just to do the work and let the work show for me and speak for me. You know who came and supported the work? White folks. White people were out there working, believing in what I had to say, taking that on, going out there in the rain, in the snow, getting signatures so that we can get this initiative passed. White people were. Do you know when we have marches and stuff down here in Seattle? I went to a black student union at the University of Washington in 2016. A black student union that was marching and rallying for certain rights that they were asking for. I went up there to support. And they put it all on social media and everywhere. Do you know when I went up there to the Black Student Union that all the people that came was white folks? And a handful, I'm not exaggerating, a handful of us. A handful of us. That's unacceptable. That's what I've had to deal with. It wasn't until people seen the work and the success of my organization, Not This Time, that black folks start coming on board. Same thing like with Obama and anybody. When Obama started running, black folks didn't support him. They were supporting Hillary Clinton. It wasn't until Obama won in Iowa that black folks got on board to support him. Yeah. Because I'm not speaking ignorant about anything. People think power is when you tell the police off. You know, fuck him, and woo, woo, woo. They think that's powerful. What you done did? Okay, after all that frustration and all you cussing and all that, what has changed? That's not no power. You operating like a victim. There ain't no power in just telling somebody off. So what? You told somebody off. That's weak. You can't beat this system with your victimology. Crying to them, trying to make them understand this, that, and the other. You gotta outthink them, out-brilliance them. And when you do that, guess what they'll do? They'll respect you. Not that I need their respect, but one thing I respect about them is that they are aware that knowledge runs the world. I've said this before, that white supremacy did not just happen with violence. It happened also with brilliance. With brilliance. And so whatever brilliance that is presented out there in the world through their Ivy League universities, all those people, mostly them people that's in the Senate and on the Supreme Court and all these courts, they done gone to Harvard or Yale or Princeton and, you know, or Oxford or something. President Clinton and Hillary Clinton, they went to Oxford. What I'm saying to you is that they are continually passing down knowledge to one another that have kept them in power. And I'm simply saying that we have superior knowledge. The scripture says, let me bring this in a little bit. The scriptures say, and whether you guys believe it or not, but for that remnant, hear me what I'm saying, that the beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord, and that the wisdom of man is foolishness unto the Most High. I believed him. And I said, whatever you want to endow me with, whatever information you have to give me, I want to submit underneath you so that you can give me that information so that I can defeat a system that has been defeating us far too long. But you won't listen because you dead. Because you think there's power in you just telling somebody off like you did something great. Because you told somebody off. Oh, and we'll applaud folks over there saying, oh, she told him off or he told him off. That's not power. That's what you've been made to believe. Because you could tell somebody off that that's something. I'm not interested in telling anybody off. That ain't going to change anything. I want to defeat you with my brilliance. I want to be smarter than you, more calculating than you. And I am. Yes. And I'm not doing it for evil. I'm not doing this for evil. Because I'm a leader, the first man. When we do get in the position where we were before, and greater and better, do you think I'm going to go enslave your people? Do you think I'm going to go to other countries and enslave them and take their land and rape their women? I'm not going to do any of that. We won't do any of that. Right? We would hope that everything would be submitted underneath righteousness and what that looks like. I'm not interested in allowing you to become my teacher because of all the evil you did. Whatever consequence you have, because there is a consequence, whatsoever a man shall sow, that shall he also reap. I'm not responsible to give you that consequence. If you face that consequence, that's coming from the Most High. And whatever he chooses to deliver to you for the consequence of what you've done to other people, that's not on me. But my mind is not to be in a position of the first man to destroy you. That's not my position. That's not even how I think. All right? So let me go back a little bit into some more of this. I'm gonna forward it a little bit, and we're gonna talk a little bit more about it. Hold on, hold tight, y'all. Hold tight. Let me get it queued up. Damn.
It's virtually impossible to prosecute officers and shootings criminally in our state. What is your position on
Now let me preface this.
Well, my impression is
The reason why Washington has the worst law in the nation is because in Washington, in order for us to hold a law enforcement officer accountable for his actions, we first have to prove that that officer had malice. Malice is something that is not nowhere else in the country. No other police force, no other country has that law. No other state has that law. Washington has that law. And what that means, malice, that means we have to prove what was the officer was thinking. Extended clips, thank you. What the officer was thinking in his mind before we can charge him. It is impossible for anyone to know what someone was thinking in their mind. Impossible. Which is why not one officer in 30 years, not one since this law was instituted in 1986, have ever, not one was brought up on charges. One. But he won because of the malice clause. Because the malice is a de facto immunity, which means that no matter how bad an officer's behavior is in Washington state, we cannot hold him accountable. There was a man in 2011, he was a Native American. He was a native carver. His name was John T. Williams. He was walking down the street. He didn't even have his carving knife open. But an officer by the name of M. Burke walked up to him, bothered him, and told him, put the knife down. Some little carving knife that he used, and he was known. He was homeless, he was known, and he was hard of hearing. In a matter of 4 seconds, that officer M. Burke shot him in his back, killed him. So guess what happened? Just to let you understand how our law works here. The police said that Officer M. Burke violated police policy. The police said he violated. But guess what? We still couldn't hold him accountable because we still couldn't prove malice. So before you can get to any investigation, that malice is up there protecting before you can get to anything. So you got to overcome malice before you can get to anything else. They say, sure, he killed him. Sure, it was wrong. But did he have malice? We don't know because we don't know what's in his mind. So that malice is a de facto immunity. That means that blocks any officer here in Washington state for any accountability. And I'm not glad that my brother was killed. I'm not. But if it had to happen, Lord, if it had to happen, it was best that it happened in the state that had the worst law so we could work here first all the way around this country, if it had to happen. Give me the worst and let me take the worst down. Then we go around. Amen. Hold on. They're talking about malice here.
Currently, there are
Every other state.
Okay. Mike, let's break down this beat. The
Ball is in every other state.
Okay.
Ball is in every other state.
Okay. Mike, let's break down this beat. The good faith standard that 940 is talking about here. With this current malice standard in place, it's been shown it's virtually impossible to prosecute officers in shootings criminally in our state. What is your position on 940's good faith standard?
Well, my impression is, for context here, currently there are 11 officers nationwide that are being prosecuted. So it is not impossible to prosecute police officers.
In our state, though, it's a little different in terms of that malice standard. I think.
Well, I would tend to disagree to that extent. I think that's a de facto immunity is their talking point term. As we saw, there has been a police officer that has been charged in this state under the statute that we're currently working under.
Okay.
When you talk about malice is a state of mind. You can't prove state of mind.
Okay.
The problem is that we don't necessarily need malice.
Okay.
What we're focused on is good faith. We don't hold doctors accountable for killing somebody in the operating table. Where we hold them accountable is civil liability.
Okay.
What 940 wants to do, and its initial goal, and it's still its main goal, is to make it easier to politically prosecute police officers.
And I think it's taking out this malice term, which is unique. Ours is the only state that has that in place. And I think what Andre is saying is, let's take that out so we can at least be on a level playing field with other states.
You know, I've
maybe.
actually spoken with the author of our current deadly force language that
Yeah.
we're operating under. And to a person, we don't need malice in the deadly force language. We don't.
Okay.
That's one of the reasons why we met with proponents of 940 in Olympia.
Okay.
Sounds like he agrees with the initiative.
Okay, at least part of it with this malice piece. I know there's other pieces too, though.
Well, I mean,
let Mike finish,
Well,
please.
but let's be clear, though. I mean, what 940 is doing, it's stripping malice and making good faith to a level that is completely unattainable for its protection needed to properly protect the community and the law enforcement that provide public safety in those jurisdictions. I mean, let's be clear. I mean, in any police shooting that we've had, whether it's in this state or across the country, in particular in this state, judges, prosecutors, and even sometimes juries have sat on these investigations and weighed in. And to a person, all the shootings that have occurred since 2005 have been ruled justified.
He's saying that he understands that malice is impossible, and at the other side of that, he's saying something different. So there has to be something consistent. It is consistent that we have a law in place that it is impossible, no matter how bad an officer's behavior is, for us to hold him accountable. Now, Dan Satterberg, I had a conversation with him, and he expressed to me this idea of officers making mistakes.
The King County prosecutor, yes.
Right. So I said to Dan, how many times does the killing have to happen until it's something more than a mistake? How many times, right? How many times can you say this is a mistake? These issues are going on all over the country. Washington is stepping forward in leadership saying we have a resolution and solution not only for our state but for the rest of the country. The beautiful thing, like I said from the beginning, is that it pulls people together. Not only does it pull community together, it pulls law enforcement together. Because there are law enforcement officers like Sheriff Mincy Johansson that supports 940.
Right.
So there are more than just community. There are law enforcement, politicians that support 940 in its inception. Because 940 is the foundation of change. Let me explain this to you. Law enforcement officers never proposed change. It was only because the community got together and said we needed change. Right? And because we won the initiative process, we created a space for law enforcement now to come to the table. Had we had not won, right? They would have never proposed anything because they haven't.
I thank you for bringing that up. And this malice piece is a very important part of 940. I want to make sure we touch on some other pieces too.
Them fools can't mess with your boy, man. They can't. What do you mean? They can't mess with your boy, man. What? You know? They can't mess with your boy. I'm fighting out there for us, baby. Come on now. I'm fighting out there in real time. I did. It was strategic, just this strategic dismantling. Here, I had the man say out of his own mouth that you can't prove malice. And then he said, we don't need malice. The police officer said it. Then I said, well, I guess he agrees with the initiative then. What do you mean? But if you, what's up, baby? The wife. But if you are not poised and thinking, you'll miss it. Because you'll be so caught up in emotion and angry by what he's saying that you'll forget about what you need to keep saying. Always understand, don't get caught up in somebody else's narrative. No matter what narrative they have, if you have the winning narrative, stay focused on the winning narrative. Don't get caught up and get angry because you expect him to say something decent. You should know exactly what he's going to say and then be prepared. Yes, Slick Money said chess moves. Exactly. Now, these are platforms where people very, very important people are listening and watching. Now, why wouldn't the average pure blood American wants to do something? All those people out there marching for change, why wouldn't they want to get behind somebody that is speaking sense, that is saying this is about all of us? And it is. Why? He is so marginalized in his conversation that he only is speaking to law enforcement. But there's not that many law enforcement in comparisons to citizens of this country. What I do is make sure I empower people with their voice. I make sure to empower people with their voice because we have not been united. I'm not just talking about us as black people. I'm saying around the country. We've been so divided, and people that want to keep things going the way that they are very united. They are very united. You know, I'm just saying, if you're white, you're Mexican, you're Native, whatever, we need to stay united. And I'm continuing to offer leadership, which is why I strongly am against when we as a people say we are only worried about black people's situations. Because you could never be a world authority. You could never govern a world. Because you think you can't govern all people. I know I can govern anybody. Do you see white folks feeling like they can't govern black and Mexicans? And do you think they think like that? They wouldn't, they wouldn't have 85% of the world, colonize 85% of the world. But you over there thinking you said something real slick because you said, I'm only worried about black people. You will never be able to govern a world. I'm telling you, it is time for us to reposition ourselves, get ready for our position. But you keep thinking so small. You think so small. Because you dead. Because you dead, brother. Sister, you dead. And I love you, which is why I'm fighting for you. You might not want to hear what I got to say. Don't care. I'm going to plant these seeds in the hope that those seeds are going to grow up into a tree of life for you. I don't want you to be dead. I want you to be alive. I want you to be with an expectation. I want you to look at yourself differently. I want you to believe in who you are differently. I want you to feel powerful, but you can't do it without the information. And listen to me. Listen to me very carefully. I didn't choose to be born from my mother's womb. When she was with my dad was pimping and my mom was hoeing. I didn't choose that. God allowed that situation to happen. To be born in that adverse situation where the world is telling me that you come from scum and you'll never be nothing but scum. I had to find new information. The Most High had to let me know I chose that on purpose. Because if I could bring you out of the womb of a prostitute by the seed of a pimp, with all your mistakes, if I can make you somebody, Andre, you can make any of your people believe they could be somebody. Because if I could take you from that degradation, right, from the gutter, from nothing, if I can make you something, you will be able to make anybody believe that they could be something as well. And I'm glad God did it that way. I'm so glad that he did it that way. So that I can encourage you no matter where you are in your life, no matter what you've done, no matter how many failures you've had, no matter that what was done for me can surely be done for you. And I'm only giving you the information of how I got here. When I come on these daily fires, it's to give you as much as I can. Because when I make my transition, and when people, long after I'm gone, are looking at these videos saying, man, I wish I could have been there when he was there. I wish I would have listened. But you got a chance right now to be a part of something extremely special for our people. And I'm not just saying it. It is our time. But you can't see it because you've been poisoned thinking about viewing these eyes, these lenses through white supremacy. And all you can see is what time they say it is. And they say it's a time for Trump. And all these other distractions. And you distracted. You distracted. And I'm telling you with example. You know where I come from. I'm telling you, it is our time. It is your time. And I'm telling you, nobody could stop you. If you flush all that garbage out of you and replenish yourself with life, with the information, not only will you love your people, you will be able to lead all people. God gave me a dream many years ago. And in this dream, I heard in my dream God speak to me in my dream. Doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. But what he told me is that this is a time for black people. The world is calling for black people. And in my book, The Road to Paradise, I even put it in there. This is a time for black people. The world is calling for black people. Which one of you are going to listen? Which one of you are going to apply the information? I'm not sitting here talking. Every step of the way, I'm giving you the evidence. I'm showing you the work. I'm showing you everything going on in real time. From somebody who shouldn't even be here as far as the system is concerned, but I'm not operating on the system's time. I'm not playing on their playing field. I'm playing on a whole different playing field with different rules. You keep playing on their playing field, you're playing by their rules. I'm giving you information that you play on a different playing field by your rules, and they can't even see you move. They can't even see you move. They can't even see you move. Black woman, black man, black child. This is your time. Listen, anybody else that's selling you anything else, block them out. Block them out. Because you're going to be left behind. In 5 years, in 5 years' time, we will be in a whole different place. And some of you that didn't listen will be stuck right back here. Well, there'll be a movement going on so powerful, so progressive, where black people are leading it. And you're going to be back here, left over here, because you didn't listen. Because when an opportunity came, you didn't see it because you did. But for you that have been coming here every week, and those seeds are planted inside of you, you are awoken to something new about yourself. I don't care what anybody ever said about you, what you couldn't do, what you couldn't achieve. I'm telling you, I was born from a prostitute and a pimp. Come from the gutter with nothing. When I came to Seattle, I didn't have no whole bunch of money. The money that Dove and I had, we used it in the organization. But it wasn't no whole bunch of money. But it was the genius that we brought forth that brought forth the change. And God made sure that it was the change through genius first before any money started coming. He wanted to make sure that I would have a testimony, that it was the information from the Most High, the information that he said, that man's wisdom is foolishness unto God. And when man stepped before me, it's foolishness. How can you stand before the king? The human king. Just like you. But you don't think you're a king because you're viewing yourself through different lenses in different playing fields. You might say it, but you don't believe it. I believe it. I walk it. I talk it. I know it. And you know what? They know it too. And they can't understand how a man coming from where I came from could have created so much change in such a little time. How could I have brought so many people together? because I'm pure. I'm transparent with my errors and my mistakes. I talk about what I came from, the demons I had to face to overcome. I talk about that is the Most High that I seek after, that I'm submitted before, humbled before, and most of all, I talk about how dearly I love my people. How dearly I love you. How dearly I love you. You have faced so much hate, ridicule, and I'm gonna love you harder than anybody else could hate you. I'm gonna love you harder than anybody else could ridicule you. That's real. I love you. And all and every day of my life, I'm gonna spend it fighting for you. I promise you that. Every day of my life, I'm gonna spend it fighting for you until as many as we could touch are not dead anymore. And that's just real. You guys that's on here that haven't liked the video, please like it. Let's go into another segment of this police officer and myself. If you haven't liked it, please like the video. The more you like it, other people, it'll get recommended and other people be able to be blessed. We're trying to reach that remnant out there, folks, that remnant of us. It don't need every single one of us, even though I want every single one of us to make it. God said only a remnant will be saved. Who am I to say something different? We looking for that remnant that'll take and shake this world upside down. That's what we looking for.
Let's talk a little bit, Mike,
Let's see.
about this idea of de-escalation training. I've heard a lot of officers tell me they don't want to use deadly force if they don't have to. No deadly confrontation.
It's too many. It's a very important part of 940.
Created a space for law enforcement now to come to the table.
Right.
Had we had not one, right,
Yeah.
they would have never proposed anything because they haven't.
Okay. I thank you for bringing that up. And this malice piece is a very important part of 940. I want to make sure we touch on some other pieces too. Let's talk a little bit, Mike, and I'll go to you on this one. This idea of de-escalation training. I've heard a lot of officers tell me they don't want to use deadly force if they don't have to. One deadly confrontation is too many. So why push back against what I-940 is proposing with regard to better training on mental health crises, things of this nature?
Well, thank you for bringing the training angle up.
Let's do it.
And unfortunately, proponents of 940 have used the training angle as a ruse to influence voters across the state as its main goal. Not accurate whatsoever
How do you
because of the training piece.
Okay.
The training piece is, the bottom line is we already get this training.
Okay. But it's not required by the state, I think, is what the 940.
Watch how I cut them when I come
House
on.
Bill 5311.
He said they always
Crisis
get, they already get
intervention
training.
Which the sheriff sits on the panel regarding MID, which is mental illness drug dependency. And I quote, "The training prepares law enforcement and emergency services providers with skill to slow down difficult encounters and de-escalate crisis." This is directly from their website.
Okay.
And this is the training that's offered within King County. King County actually pays the Criminal Justice Training Commission to have King County officers and deputies receive crisis intervention training at the academy. Now, on top of that, the Criminal Justice Training Commission offers a program for crisis intervention training, which is mandatory for new hires for 8 hours.
To get that 8 hours when they
2
start.
hours a year for refresher, free to those departments statewide.
Okay.
So this is training that we've already received.
Andre, let me have you respond to that, please.
So there's an idea that some training going on right now. Officers, the majority of their training is to teach how to shoot center mass. All right? So if an officer has been on the job for some 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right, and he has 8 hours of de-escalation training in a year or twice a year, and an incident happens, that officer, a person, is predisposed to go back to a behavior that they're comfortable and trained to do. So if the majority of your training is shooting center mass, that 8 hours of de-escalation training is not going to even come into play. What we are seeing is that they are, my organization represents a lot of families that have experienced police shootings. Billy Langford was an individual who was having a mental health crisis.
Okay.
His girlfriend called law enforcement and told law enforcement he needs to go to a hospital. Right? Law enforcement came there. Now I don't know what kind of training this officer had, but in 4 seconds they shot Billy Langford, already knowing that he had a mental health crisis. The call was already made. So whatever training that's going on has not been effective. So we want to make sure officers are getting the proper training, knowing how to de-escalate throughout their career, not just 8 hours.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up.
I cut him.
Jump into the.
I cut him, y'all. I cut him. We're talking about we get training. We get 8 hours of training. I said, what? You get 8 hours of de-escalation training? What the hell? So you telling me the majority of your training is shooting somebody's center mass? You've been an officer for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and the majority of your training is shooting somebody's center mass, and in 1 year you get 8 hours? So if an incident come down, that a person is predisposed to go back to a behavior of their training. That 8 hours ain't gonna even come into play. Don't come talking that bull to me. I'm way sharper than that. You shouldn't even have tried that. Killed this man. Are you serious? That's the kind of foolishness that's been going on, and these folks ain't been challenged with that foolishness and that narrative. They get 8 hours of training and 102,000 hours of how to kill somebody center mass. If you don't knock it off, yeah. So let me tell you what our initiative does, and it was written by community. De-escalation training throughout an officer's career. Make de-escalation as normal as you are trained to kill somebody shooting center mass, so that when an incident happens, you have that in your mind that you de-escalate the situation. Second part, mental health crisis training. A third of the people that are shot by law enforcement have mental health crises, are in a mental health crisis. These people are just killing anybody, right? And also, because we debate about rendering first aid, and so I'll let us see that part there, and what he says and what I say to him on some real stuff. But yeah, so officers will out there around the country will say we have training. You heard what I said at the end. Whatever training that you have is not effective. You can talk to me about whatever training you have. You need to throw all that out the window. I am the co-chair of the Serious and Deadly Investigation Task Force out here in Seattle. There's a lot of people on that task force. I'm one of the co-chairs, and another guy, Jim Granton, who used to be a police officer and a chief for like 30 years. So we're both on co-chairs. So they're presenting all these ideas on in investigations. So what I want is to have independent investigations when a police shoots one of us. I don't want the police to investigate themselves. That's foolishness. That's what's been going on. I want it to be purely independent of law enforcement because I do not trust law enforcement investigating themselves. So in this Serious and Deadly Force Investigation Task Force that I co-chair with Jim Granton, they are going around the country talking about what other states and cities have done. What I say from the gate is, if you are talking to me about all these things that people are doing around the country and they haven't worked, you can forget about that. We need to hit something. We need to do something different, right? We need to do something totally different and lead in this department, you know? So don't bring me what somebody else is doing in New York or, Milwaukee if it's not working. I don't want to design ours like theirs if it's not working. So let us just create something brand new and make sure that it works. Because no matter how great you guys say the FIT team out here, and that's called the Force Investigation Team, who do these investigations, they are police officers too. No matter how good you think they're doing, they're not doing good at all, because they have not found no criminality in all these cases, and that's mathematically impossible. And they're investigating their friends. You know his son. Y'all go camping together. You go to dinner together, and now you're gonna make him investigate you. Man, if you don't knock that off, you need to stop it. Yeah, so that's the kind of stuff that's going on. So here, let me get towards the end of this. Hold on. Do me. Okay, hold on, y'all, because we're getting to the end.
First aid requirement at 940.
We're going to talk about first aid now, like I just talked to you guys about.
Okay. Throughout their career, not just 8 hours.
Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. I would love to try to jump into the first aid requirement at 940 if we can briefly. Mike, I'll start with you. Yes Side says this is something that's going to save lives, could be a positive point of contact with the community to resolve conflicts. What do you think about this first aid
The first aid
requirement?
training is another short-sighted part of I-940, which is completely against common sense. So a good example would be if I'm responding to an active shooter situation, wherever it may be. If I-940 is passed, the way the law is written, and I think that's why I-940 proponents want to walk away from it, is because I would have to stop trying to apprehend that shooter to render first aid to somebody that needed it.
Okay.
The priority is life, safety, and stopping crime as it is. So can you imagine if I were to stop an active shooter who was shooting dozens of people to save one?
Okay.
That is a hands-on experience, a common sense experience as to why 940 is awful bad for the community in general. And I want to just say one more thing.
Briefly, if you can, I want
the crisis intervention training within King County.
Okay.
We get some of the best training. That's why I say we are some of the best trained officers across the state, because I've had the pleasure to travel across the nation and to experience firsthand other officers from different departments. And I can tell you to a person that people in this community are lucky to have the law enforcement they have, providing them public safety.
Thank you very much. I want to make sure you respond to that first aid piece.
Let me explain. Let me respond to this. Real human stories. My brother was killed in 2016 by law enforcement. Right? The reason why we specifically put that first aid training in there is because law enforcement does not have to. There's no law that says the law enforcement officer has to provide first aid. My brother was shot. He was handcuffed, hands behind his back. He was no threat, and left there to bleed out for 8 minutes, which is why we put. We don't want a situation to come about. God forbid that an officer has shot somebody and there's some type of bias and he says, I don't care, this guy's a criminal, let him die. You know what I mean? That's an extreme case. But this will even prevent that extreme case.
I see.
Right? So there's no law that says that. You would think that there would be a law that says if somebody is lying down bleeding, do some first aid. But there's not that. We want to make sure to 940 that.
Right, I just want to jump on that.
We need to start wrapping up the show. I want to incorporate this in your last statement,
I want
please.
to talk about context.
We're going to finish it up, you guys.
Brother, which is tragic.
Yep.
Like I said earlier, I can't even comprehend that loss. You have to put in context with every use of force, meaning when in that incident, as tragic as it is, there was only a few officers at the scene. I know in firsthand people who have been handcuffed that have actually killed police officers. So every situation is different. People have to understand the context to this and understand why things happen, why we act the way that we do to protect ourselves and protect the public.
Thank you. I need you with a 30-second statement in closing, please.
Sure. I just got done talking about context, Brian and Andre, and again, thank you so much. This has been a difficult discussion, and I think it's important for the community to understand that this is something that
I'm gonna cut him in a minute.
Special interest groups, and it's no disrespect to Andre. It's not demeaning your experience, but special interest groups have taken on this cause where they want to politically prosecute police officers, not only in this state but across the nation. We're seeing it in California. I can't express enough how detrimental and out of context how bad this is for our society. When you remove protections from people that are here to protect you, to make them feel that they can provide a service to you which gives them some protections as far as doing their job effectively,
Okay.
then we are lost in society.
Thank you very much for that. Andre, you get the last word.
Officer Sloan, out of his own mouth, admitted that malice was impossible. We have a malice law. We want to change it. 940 is based on making sure that that is changed. 940, again, brings people together. It's bigger than my brother. Our country has come through many impasses before where Americans of all backgrounds have stood up and said it's time to change things. We did it with Jim Crow laws. We did it with slavery. We are a great country because of our ability to come together and to change things together.
Okay.
This is another impasse that we can change and be the leaders in the country on police accountability.
Okay.
It is incumbent upon us to do so. The country is depending on us, and I think that citizens of this country will stand up and make sure that change happens.
Thank you both for your input, and we will be right back.
Police need to be accountable.
That's it, fam. Yep. Wherever the soles of your feet, yes, wherever the soles of your feet shall touch, you supposed to own it, control it. No matter where. Again, you know where I come from. I'm not special. You know, I'm not special because of me. I'm special. The only thing that makes me special is my yieldedness before the Most High. My ability to believe in Him enough to say whatever you got to give to me that can empower me over the system that is in place now. Teach me that, and I'll yield to that. Right? So, again, as I go along, there's another thing. As I go along, I'm going to continue to show you, not just talk at you, show you that the information that I've been talking to you is continuing to work in my own life. Continuing to work so that you will believe that it could work in yours. That's what this is about. You could see it, you could believe it. And I'm telling it to you so you can plant the seed. Anybody have any questions? Everything we do has law, but we are taught nothing about law. Why don't you fight for real shit? Unpack that, JS. I don't understand what you're saying. Unpack that so I could hear. I don't understand what you're saying about that. Anybody else? Everything in America is based upon law. You know, the law this, the law that. America has available. Am I a minister? No. No, I'm an activist. Oh yeah, they bring your pass up all the time, but remember I've said in Daily Fires before, you know, tell your story before your enemy does. So I've been telling my story for so long, you know. Let me see. Yes, vote. Yes. Activists for what? For police accountability, for social issues, for my people. That's what. Oh, okay. All right. Well, you need to go look at those other Daily Fires so you can get caught up because you like 2.5 months behind. Cam's K94. Thanks, Tony. I appreciate that. Well, Cam's for my people first because they the ones in the most need, but no, ultimately for all people, but for my people first. Yeah. They're the ones at the bottom of every social structure in this country, so they need my help. Well, if Cam's a troll, y'all take care of it. Yeah. Do you think white supremacy controls the police? Absolutely. FBI in 2006 says a white supremacist and neo-Nazis have infiltrated law enforcement around the country. That's what the FBI said in 2006. So absolutely. Some of the different type of traumas that we deal with that we have to overcome is self-hate. Let me see. Well, we just don't want to get our land and power back. We want to be the first man again where we are in the authority in the world. You know, Africans went all over this world and colonized all over this world before anybody. That's why you see the face of the Olmec tribe, an African man, an African person, the Olmec tribe down there in Mexico, the big old head, you see them everywhere. They're trying to discount that that's black people, but we know what we look like. Do you know about electro stalking or gang stalking? No, I don't. I'm doing so much work, I come here on every Friday. They could have the rest of it. You're absolutely right. Prosecutors, that's why they voted that prosecutor out in Chicago. But if we're not informed, if you keep taking the position that nothing will change and we can't do nothing, then them people will stay up in there. I don't believe that. I believe in dominion. That's why I taught you guys dominion. It's very important that I find out about it. Why? Because somebody's trying to do it to me. I'm not worried. I have a lot of enough work out there to protect me in whatever capacity. It doesn't matter. Whatever enemy I have, they're going to have to, if it's about that, the Most High will protect me and they'll find themselves fighting against him. I'm here to do his work. How do you feel about black men having their heaven on earth from a Hebrew Israelite viewpoint? Well, I have some different philosophies. There's so many different Hebrew organizations versus just like Christian denominations. There's so much convolution out there that I submit before the Most High. I believe, William, thank you. Like I said, the scripture declares that the cattle upon 1,000 hill is the Lord's. The earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. And if that's the case, I just don't believe that the devil's children are supposed to have everything. There was a congressman named John. He has been fighting for black reparations. It's going to come one way or the other. It might not come through that means, but it's going to come. The scripture talks about it in Genesis 14. The scripture says that you will go into a nation that your ancestors will go into a nation that they do not know. They will be enslaved and treated bad there for 400 years. But afterwards, I will punish the nations that have done this to them, and they will come out into a wealthy place. Those are biblical scripture. Those are biblical prophecies about us Hebrews, the black man, the black people. Now, I don't care when nobody believes it. Just watch and see. Yeah, police corruption does, but not only police corruption brings tension to us. It is the lack of opportunities. It is laws that have been placed. This is everything's in the laws. Everything is in the laws. It is the way the laws have been placed to subjugate us in our communities, to keep us from having access to certain things with ease, like they have it set up in structures for white kids and white people. So that's what that is. But that ain't gonna stop nothing. My boy Droney always coming in there with the support. I love you, boy, for real. Always coming in with that 50. Love you. So for that constant support. If you guys haven't liked it, make sure you like the video if you're coming in. Like it so, you know, it can be shared in other places. What else, you guys? Anything else? I never lost y'all. I had to find myself through y'all. You know, but I guess it was a timing thing, if I want to say that. It was timing. When it was time for me to come into the full information, he made sure that happened. So I never attribute that to me. I attribute that to him. What's next after getting this law passed? Going around the country and helping brothers and sisters with the blueprint to have it done over there as well. I want to create a place where I can bring people to. I don't know, some people might call it a church, but I wouldn't call it a church. But some place that I can bring people to where I can give this information, on a daily basis, and prepare us, for whatever the Most High wants us to do next. Marcus, appreciate you. Well, the way I found myself is my submittance before the Most High. I submitted before the Most High. And as long as I was alert and awoke, and was able to see and not see through the system's lenses, he was able to give me little by little as I went along in my life. Many things came in seasons. They didn't come all at once. But, when I was 16 years old, I had my first experience. And from that 16-year-old experience, I continue to be, educated about things. My boy Eric, love you, boy. Not this time in the house. Ask for support. What do you mean, ask for support? I don't want to let nobody know I need support. People should know if we're doing the work that goes on. I don't know no black person that's fighting for us that don't need no support around the country. People come in here and they're willing to give out of their substance and bless me so that I can continue to do what I'm doing, and they appreciate the information. I don't want nobody to give me nothing if I ain't helped them. If it's nothing that I have taught you, don't do nothing. But if I've taught you something, Apostle Paul said it is natural, if I give unto you my spiritual things, that you read back unto me your carnal things. The Most High blesses that exchange. But I'm not about to be begging for nothing. I ain't going to beg the system for nothing. I ain't going to beg nobody else for nothing. If they feel my information is worthy, people will do it out of the goodness of their hearts because they want to keep supporting the movement. I remember one time when Moses was in need, people gave so much to Moses, he said, please stop giving. It was just too much. So when people have it in their hearts, people got to have a heart change. Do you mean Daniel in the Bible? What do you mean, do I mean Daniel? No, Moses. Well, I just don't read the Bible. There's a whole bunch of other things that I read as well. But there's nothing more powerful to me than the Word of God. Nothing. And I know a lot of people out there, Hotep brothers and everything, just believe in Egypt and might not believe in the Most High and all that. That's fine. I don't care nothing about that. But I can tell you one thing. We're gonna see what your evidence is, and we're gonna see what mine is at the end of the day. I bet what I'm doing is gonna show that the Most High got to be with me, because that's what I continue to do, and not because of me, because I have Him with me. So when I speak, I'm gonna have some evidence. The Scripture says that signs and wonders follow the word. So people gonna continue to see signs and wonders following the things that I say. They gonna see the evidence. All kind of people out there talking, but they ain't doing nothing for the community. All right. Dre, do you have or tap into any word or pastor on YouTube like Pastor Geno Jennings? To tap into resources like YouTube. If you don't, let me tell you one guy that I like, who is a Christian preacher. His name is Bishop Tudor Bismarck. One of my favorites of all preachers everywhere. Bishop Tudor Bismarck. Bizmark, I believe it is. I like him a lot. He is from Africa. He is from, not Angola. He is from, I forgot what part of Africa he's from. But the brother is an extremely powerful, gifted man. I like him. I know he hears from the Most High. Powerful. He don't play no games. And when he comes out here to the United States, he gives it to these preachers raw and uncut. So you guys get a chance to go check out some of Bishop Bismarck's, Tudor Bismarck's speaking. He's powerful. So that's probably the only person that I really can say I listen to. I've heard some of Geno Jennings stuff, but he gets involved in too many things for me. It gets too involved and too many back and forth with people, and I'm just not into that. I don't got nothing to prove to nobody. You'll see it in my work. I'm not about to try to, I don't want you to talk me to death, and I don't want to talk you to death. trying to prove to you my God is better, my philosophy is better. Man, miss me with all that. Just watch this work. Watch this evidence. Let this evidence show what we do. That's right, Eric. Yeah, so, I'm not about to go back and forth with people. Nah, boy, you's a blessing, man. I'm going to tell you that right now. Thank you for that 20, man. So I be trying to encourage you guys not to be going back and forth. Nah, because I don't have nothing to prove to nobody, It ain't necessary. If you don't like me, get in line. Get in line. You don't like me? I don't care nothing about that little small stuff. I got work to do for the community. You know what Yahawashi church call him Jesus. Yeah, he might be about that Bible, but he be going back and forth with other preachers, and I'm not into that, man. What we need to do is find something that we can all agree on, and let's just elevate that. But I'm not into all that stuff, man. It just creates too much division. Don't go in there with your mouth. Go in there with your evidence. Go in there. I like in the Bible where Elijah was having a problem with some of Ahab's prophets. And they was going to have some type of, because Ahab's prophets was false prophets. And so they challenged Elijah to show whose God is the realest God. So Ahab's prophets went first. And they say the God that answers by fire, let him be the real God. So Ahab's prophets went up on the mountain. They get to praying and calling on God and cutting themselves and reaching out to their God, and nothing happens. So here Elijah comes. He has a sacrifice there. He just drowns the sacrifice with all kind of water. And then Elijah said, not for me, God. I know who you are. But for these doubters out there, let them know that you are the real God. Fire came down from heaven, supped up the sacrifice and every bit of water that was on the sacrifice. The thing was, let the God that answers by fire, let him be the God. This is called daily fire. If you want to challenge me, let the God that answers by fire, let him be God. So that's what I say to Gino and whoever else out there that have an idea that their God is the God. Okay, fine. I say let the God that answers by fire, let him be God. What is the evidence? The fire is the evidence. Not that you got you a couple of dollars. The most powerful force against black people and has been for 400 years is white supremacy. What has your church done? What has your speaking done? What have you done to defeat white supremacy? And if you have done nothing in that department, you can't say nothing to me. My job, my focus is to defeat, dismantle white supremacy with great genius from the Most High. Yeah. How can I help us see our fight? And been thinking about that for a while. Every Wednesday we've been meeting for 2.5 years at the SVI, the Seattle Vocational Institute, upstairs room 401. Every Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. We organize there. We give events there to get the job done. We've been consistent every single Wednesday for 2.5 years, working, not just talking. So if you come visit us, just come to the SVI, 2120 South Jackson Street, upstairs in the Seattle Vocational Building, room 401. You want any other information? Go to notthisTime.global. NotthisTime.global. You want more information? Go to Not This Time Action on Facebook. Not This Time Action on Facebook. That's for the movement. We doing work around here. All right, well, I'm not going to debate all that. Like I said, let the God that answers by fire, let him be God. How much difficulty you have in finding people who were serious about organizing? A lot of difficulty, especially our people. White people who are on board, ready to go. How do you defeat it? We must go in and change the minds and laws of it and reverse it. That, but with great genius. What time? 6 to 8 p.m. every Wednesday. Facts, Dre, what are you building? Movement. Something huge. Something that lets people know your time is over. The black man, the black people, the black family is back on board. Okay, come on through. Come on through. We'll be there. Okay, y'all, a couple of questions. A couple of more questions, and I'm going to shut them on down. Make sure you have some poise and disposition, believe in who you are. The more arguing you do, the more uncomfortable you are about what you have, what you know, and what you believe. Remember that. The more arguing you do with somebody is that it makes you look uncomfortable about what you know, who you are, and what you believe. Right? So make sure you keep your temperament. Don't make nobody that big and that powerful. Don't go small. Be big. What's the difference between respect and love? Well, we can go into a lot of it, but I get it. I bet if you go through some of them daily fires, it'll come to you. Do you celebrity with this? No, I don't consider myself a celebrity. I'm an activist from the streets, but a celebrity, not. I don't care what anybody else thinks about me, whatever, but no. Mr. Povo, like I said, I have black, natives, and everybody else involved with the movement. I appreciate you can be involved in any capacity. Thank you, Kevin, man, for that 20. The location is 2120 South Jackson Street, Seattle, Washington. The Seattle Vocational Institute. Room 401, 4th floor. 6 to 8 p.m. We've been there 2.5 years with this movement, changing things. Yeah. So a lot of you people are asking for certain things. If you haven't gone through some of these daily fires, a lot of that information that you're asking for is in a lot of those daily fires. Go and take the time out. Everyone is welcome. Eric said almost. Come to Texas? Yeah, I mean to. Once I get all this stuff over here taken care of, I'm coming through everywhere I can come through. Definitely. I know you're big into your activist, this stuff now, but you have such a strong mind when it comes to business. Have you ever thought about sharing your ideas in business with young brothers? This is a sort of business. You have to operate with a business mind, with an activist mind, with a preacher's mind, a social justice warrior mind. You got to have many minds in this activism. To have an organization, you have to have some business acumen about you to know how to run it and to keep it moving and to keep it successful. So business entities are involved in activism. So it's not just, I'm just an activist, I have an organization, not this time. So you have to keep that running and have that smooth and have people being a part of that. So that takes a lot. But if you're talking about as far as, opening up some business, that can be coming soon, but it'll be through these fundamentals that I have right now to make sure we can control everything that we're doing. Yeah. I'll always be an activist all my life. Those brothers was in pain, and they felt that they could only express themselves. Somebody asked me, Power Play, for real, asked me what I felt about the Freddie Gray fire over there. And I said them youngsters and them people were just so hurt. They just wanted to express themselves the only way they knew how. I just want to give you information to know how not only you can express yourself, but you can defeat white supremacy. Thank you too, Joe Frank. I'm up out of here. I love you guys. Remember, you are powerful. You are beautiful. You are special. And it is your time. It is your time. I love all of you, and I'll talk to you soon. Love you.